Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to demystify the complex and, let's be honest, incredibly frustrating world of pool water chemistry. Look, if you've ever stood at the edge of your pool just scratching your head over weird test results, you are definitely not alone. We're going to show you exactly how to take back control of your backyard oasis using the actual science behind these chemicals. Okay, let's just dive right into this. Are you currently stuck in what the pros call the pool chemistry rec loop? You know the drill. You spend your whole weekend chasing bouncing pH levels, only to end up with cloudy water, algae blooms, and burning eyes. It's a vicious cycle, right? And honestly, it just wastes your time and drains your wallet. To get you out of that cycle safely, here's our agenda. We'll start with the pH rec loop, then move to alkalinity, followed by baking soda versus soda ash. After that, we'll hit the proper dosing method, timing your pool shock, and finally, deadly chemical combinations. Let's get to it. Section 1. The pH rec loop. Chasing the wrong numbers. So what's the core problem here? Why do so many of us frantically dump expensive chemicals into the water for literally zero payoff? Well, it usually comes down to chasing the wrong numbers. Here's how the rec loop works. You test your water. The pH reads high. Naturally, you panic a bit and add acid to lower it. But because of that acid, your alkalinity completely tanks. Realizing your alkalinity is now rock bottom, you add bicarbonate to fix that, and boom, your pH spikes right back up again. You can spend an entire week doing this dance just to end up worse than where you started. It's maddening. This loop happens because you're trying to adjust the pH without first securing its foundation.
Section 2. Alkalinity, your pool's ultimate chemical shock absorber.
The absolute secret to breaking out of the rec loop is a hard and fast rule. You must always fix your alkalinity before you even look at your pH. Order is everything here. Total alkalinity is basically a measurement of the concentration of dissolved alkali in your water. It acts as a buffer. It accepts and gives away hydrogen ions to prevent rapid pH swings. I really want you to think of total alkalinity as a protective shield or a shock absorber for your pH. If you get this specific parameter dialed into range, managing your pH becomes incredibly easy. A pool with proper alkalinity will actually hold its pH steady for weeks.
So, what are those ideal ranges? For traditional chlorine pools, you want to sit between 80 and 120 parts per million. If you're running a saltwater generator, your sweet spot is slightly lower, right around 60 to 80. And if you're dealing with high water hardness, so over 200 parts per million, you're aiming for 45 to 80. But listen closely to this. If your alkalinity drops below 60 parts per million, your water becomes highly corrosive. It will literally start eating away at your pool's plaster, the grout, metal fittings, and even the heat exchanger inside your heater. Bad news all around. Section 3. Baking soda versus soda ash. Knowing your dry chemicals. When you need to raise that alkalinity, you essentially have two dry chemical options, but man, they behave very differently in your water. Sodium bicarbonate, which is just everyday baking soda, is mildly basic. It has a pH around 8.3. It raises your total alkalinity strongly, but only nudges your pH up a tiny bit. In stark contrast, we have soda ash. Soda ash is highly basic. It swings your pH incredibly hard and can easily turn your pool cloudy if you don't pre-dissolve it exactly right. While both do raise alkalinity, baking soda is almost always the hero you want here because it focuses on the alkalinity without sending your pH through the roof and throwing you right back into that rec loop. To really grasp the difference in sheer power here, check out this staggering fact from our sources. Soda ash is approximately 1,000 to 1,200 times more basic than sodium bicarb. Yeah, over 1,000 times. This massive difference is exactly why adding the wrong powder, or even just slightly too much of the right one, can instantly turn a crystal clear pool into a milky, cloudy mess. Section 4. The proper dosing method. Applying the cure safely. Now that we know baking soda is our go-to for safely bumping up alkalinity, we need to talk about exactly how much to use and how to get it into the water. Here is your golden rule. 1.5 pounds of baking soda per 10,000 gallons of pool water will raise your total alkalinity by exactly 10 parts per million. Honestly, the doses required are often way larger than people expect. Like if you have a 20,000-gallon pool reading at 50 parts per million, you're going to need about 9 pounds of baking soda to get back into range. So if you add a little bit and nothing happens, don't assume the product is weak. Usually, the dose was just way too small. Okay, here are the strict steps for applying it. First, obviously, test your water and calculate your exact dose. Second, Pre-dissolve the powder in a bucket of warm water and never put more than 15 pounds in a single bucket. Third, make sure your filter pump is actually running. Never add this stuff to still water. And fourth, pour that dissolved slurry slowly around the perimeter of the pool, kind of working your way toward the deep end. By pre-dissolving it in a bucket instead of just dumping dry powder straight in, you completely prevent those particles from settling on the pool floor and creating a stubborn, chalky slick.
And here is a massive pro tip for you. Split your large doses. If your math tells you that you need a huge dose, say 12 pounds, add half today and then add the other half tomorrow. Why? Well, because if you accidentally overshoot your alkalinity, walking it back is a huge pain. It requires a really tedious process of adding muriatic acid combined with heavy water aeration. It's always easier to creep up on your target than to try and walk it back down.
Section 5. Timing your pool shock. Sequencing for success. Once your alkalinity is dialed in, you might be wondering, okay, how long do I have to wait before I sanitize and clear up any cloudiness with some pool shock? Sequencing these steps correctly is super vital. Typically, you'll want to add your baking soda in the morning. Then, you really only need to wait about 1 to 2 hours with the pump running for it to fully mix. After that, go ahead and check your pH level, and you can safely add your liquid chlorine shock that very same evening. See, baking soda and chlorine don't react dangerously with each other in the pool water. The only reason you're waiting an hour or two is just to let the pH settle out so you get an accurate test reading. When you do shock the pool, keep these rules in the back of your mind. Use liquid chlorine. Always shock in the evening because the daytime sun burns off free chlorine incredibly fast. Keep your pump running continuously for 8 to 24 hours to ensure you get full circulation. And remember this, if your pool has cyanuric acid, which is your chlorine stabilizer in it, that chemical dictates your chlorine's behavior way more than your pH does. So please, don't delay a much-needed shock just because you're busy chasing a mathematically perfect 7.2 pH.
Section 6. Deadly chemical combinations. Hazardous contraindications.
All right, we've talked about safely getting chemicals into your water, but we absolutely have to outline what happens when incompatible pool chemicals meet outside the water. Look, even common, seemingly harmless chemicals like baking soda have formal safety data sheet hazard warnings. Handling concentrated pool chemicals is a serious and potentially lethal business. You really must wear safety glasses, use gloves, and make sure you have proper ventilation. Mixing the wrong compounds paints a picture of true hazard. If you mix chlorine with muriatic or dry acid, you create a deadly toxic gas. Literally. If you mix stabilized chlorine with unstabilized chlorine, you risk a violent fire or explosion. And if you mix baking soda or soda ash directly with calcium chloride, you're going to trigger severe clouding and scaling. The takeaway here? Never, ever combine concentrated chemicals in a bucket and never combine them in your pool's skimmer. To keep your backyard safe, you have to follow these strict separation protocols. Add all chemicals to the pool separately. Let the water circulate completely before adding the next one. Use a clean, dedicated scoop for every single product. Store your acids far away from your chlorine. Never mix old and new chemicals together, even if they are literally the exact same brand and product. And finally, when you are pre-dissolving in a bucket, always add the chemical into the water. Never, ever pour water directly onto a concentrated dry chemical. We've covered a ton of ground in this explainer, from breaking that nasty rec loop with proper alkalinity buffering, all the way to executing the perfect evening shock. But I want to leave you with this final thought. You now know how to fix your water, but do you know what's really lurking in your pool chemical shed right now? Before you head out to test your alkalinity, take just 10 minutes to audit how your chemicals are stored and whether your scoopers are actually separated. Because at the end of the day, the safety of your home and family is just as important as having a crystal clear pool. Thanks for joining me to decode the chemistry, and happy swimming.